we always talk about people being in our business and gossiping, and you want to be careful who you disclose to, of course. But I think that the best way to kind of protect yourself when you're getting to know someone as a friend or even in an intimate relationship or your coworkers is just to practice not saying things that you would not be willing to repeat to other people. First of all, you want to keep your conversations clean and positive. So
right.
So if somebody is, repeating what you said, it's not going to be something negative. And then also, just be careful about who's around you. I mean, me personally, I always think if somebody's going to sit with me and just gossip about everybody, when I get up and leave,
you don't need that.
When I leave the table, then the next subject is going to be me. So, just be mindful of who you have around you. And I think that, they're not always going to understand what you do or what you tell them to do. But if you kind of share with them where you're coming from, I think it's easier for them to appreciate what you do.
Right.
As I got older, I understood that my parents did absolutely everything they could. They we weren't rich, so they gave me what they can, and I understand the situation that they were in.
Well, see, that was that old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
See, that's needed today, but it's not there.
Yeah, these kids today are super, like, they have it good. I mean, there's things that they have that we didn't even dream of. They were born with phones in their hand, and, back in the day, it wasn't like that.
Well, I gave my children a lot, but you still have to discipline them.
Absolutely.
I mean, no matter what, you got to discipline those kids or they'll come out wrong. The Bible tells you, it says something like, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yes.
Wow, that is definitely needed.
Yeah, how many times did we hear that growing up?
Wow.
But you don't really understand it until you become a parent, where your parents were coming from. You just can't let your kids run crazy.
Well, when I was growing up, they did something like the switch.
Mm-hmm.
They used to tear you up with that switch. It was ugly.
Pick your own switch.
Yeah.
They send you outside to get it.
and sometimes you'd have to go out there 2 or 3 times to make sure you had the right one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was no fun, I can guarantee you.
No.
But, kids doesn't understand today, what that's like, You never forget those days.
No.
You really don't.
And it pays off. I feel like, we came from a family where you're definitely going to get disciplined, but you're going to get loved. But as we grew up, there was a certain, every teenager is going to go through a phase.
Really?
But there were certain things that I just would not do because what was instilled in me. Not to judge anybody who's done crazy things that me, myself, wouldn't do, because we all do things. But I just feel like having discipline and then being taught about the Lord from an early age.
Really? That's the key.
Yeah, I had a certain conscience in the back of my head that was like, you don't need to do that.
Really?
Just leave it alone. So.
Well, we're going to take a break right now, and I hope that everybody take heed to what Keita's saying, and I'm hoping that if you have any questions, you will write Keita at You Have to Know Magazine at gmail.com. So make sure that you address that to Keita, and Keita will answer those questions. So we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. Okay, here we are again.
Entertainment Magazine radio show with Mark Thoreau. Right here on Jones Media with Power 106.3 FM.
Okay, we're back. We have a touchy subject that we want to talk about right now. We want to talk about alopecia. We want to talk about how there are different kinds of alopecia and how hair growing is a problem with both men and women, mostly women. Now, women will go to the doctor and tell them I'm losing my hair, and the doctors would normally tell them, oh, that's just something you have to live with. So you just go ahead and live with it. But that's not right, because women, when they begin to lose their hair, they get emotional. They feel like the world is falling down on them.
Absolutely.
They feel very emotional about, going bald, and it's a terrible thing for a woman. A man will accept it a little bit more. But there are 3 different kinds of alopecia. Alopecia areata is one where you have a round and oval shaped sizes of hair that is coming out on the scalp and a little bit on the body. There's another one, alopecia totalis. This type, it comes out, the hair comes out, falls out all over the scalp. There's one more, alopecia universal, hair loss. This covers the body. And this is something that is an autoimmune disease that actually causes hair loss. And it has been connected to, what is that?
Vitiligo.
Yeah, the disease that Michael Jackson had, and he really had it.
Yeah.
People are saying, well, he bleached his skin, but that was not true. He bleached his skin so he could kind of even his skin tone out. And I know this to be true because I was a good friend with one of his dancers, and they told me that he really had that.
Wow.
So, it's where patches of white spots will gather on the skin, and this is not a good thing, but it's sort of connected, they think, with the autoimmune disease. Also, we have a few questions that people might ask, and they are... Keita, do you have a question?
Not yet, but this subject is really close to my heart because I am a cancer survivor and I had to go through chemotherapy and lost all my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand just for that time, even maybe less than a year, how it feels to lose your hair. I mean, it's a big thing to a woman.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, they feel bad, they feel unattractive.
Yeah.
And, that's not good. But these are some of the questions that people ask sometimes. What is the main cause of alopecia areata?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And people science really don't know. They've done a lot of research, but really they failed to come up with a real answer. We do know that it's an autoimmune disease, and it attacks your immune system. But there's not a real, they don't really know what causes it really. They say stress has something to do with it, but stress, people that are, that have a lot of stress, that might be the cause. We really don't know. But stress can have, a bad impact on the body, period.
Yeah.
Not just with the hair, but with everything else, with your nervous system and everything else. So you got to be careful, to try to keep down that stress if you can.
I can remember being stressed and just having hair just falling down.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Especially to a woman.
Oh, yeah.
Another question they ask, what are the best treatments for alopecia? They usually use steroids, but it really doesn't do a lot of good. Even though it can kind of, fight the infection, but it really does not help when the new patches come back on the skin. It's not going to stop that from happening. But let's talk about some of the other things that causes baldness. And one of the things is hair dryers. You're using those hair dryers every day, depleting the hair of its natural oils. That's one of the worst things that you can use. The heat tools like
the flat iron.
Flat irons is one of the main causes.
Wow.
Yeah,
and those are so popular.
Yes. Shampooing the hair every day is another problem. Especially in black hair, our hair lacks the ability to hold on to moisture. Not only that, it does not supply the hair with its own natural oils. So that in itself is bad. And when you're using all these other tools to deplete the hair of its natural oil, that's really bad.
Yeah.
So, we have to learn how to take care of our hair a little better. And the things we eat, that has a lot to do with it, because the hair the root is supplied by the blood. So, you got to be careful about how you take care of your body too. And there's a lot of other things like hormonal imbalances, thyroid problems. There's lots of things that, can cause baldness, but we have to be aware of it. And when we feel like there is the first symptom of losing your hair, you should go to a professional. Now, getting to the professionals, there's another thing I want to talk about is braiding the hair. A lot of people are braiding their hair without license. They do not know the insides and outs of the hair of the body. When we went to school, we had to have electricity, we had to have bones, a little bit of everything. This is what we learned, and we spent a lot of money training for hair. But now they passed a rule that it's really hurt black beauticians and black shops. And why I'm saying that is anybody can go in and braid, anybody can go in and weave, and it has hurt our salons and our businesses more than anything. And why is because we are the ones that use this. We use the hair weaving and the braiding more than anyone else. But when you give somebody else the license to do that, it hurts the black shops. And a lot of the black beauticians have gone out of business because of this. And I think that is something that needs to be looked at by our government officials. That is wrong. I have done customers, one customer in particular, come in and she had been doing braids. She had a sore in her head the size of a quarter because the braids were too tight. Pus was running out of that sore. So you see, that's being performed by someone that does not know what they're doing. So I think that our government officials need to take another look at this and help save the black beauticians, because we are losing clients because they're able to do it in their homes. I mean, they can go from house to house and do it. But, I just want to say a little bit about that, because to me that's wrong, and it has really hurt a lot of our businesses. Keita, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah. First of all, this has been intriguing. We definitely can't have our beauty shops suffering, because the beauty shops and barber shops have been a definite staple in our community.
Really?
But number two, in speaking about